guys, it's day 3 on the ship. We're at the Windjammer having breakfast. It's a buffet. I forgot to take a picture of my breakfast, but it was really good. I had bacon and hash browns and eggs, and the hash browns were to die for. Like, it was so good. So we're gonna be in port soon, and I'll check in with you guys later. Hey guys, we just arrived to Costa Maya, right?
Yes.
Okay, Port Costa Maya. We see land. It's so fantastic. We've had kind of storms and stuff, but the weather's kind of cleared up a little bit. So we're finally here. So we're watching. They'll be meeting with our group at 11:45 to go to our excursion. So we're going to the Mayan ruins. I'm so excited because they're such a classic historical thing from this area. So anyways, enjoy the ocean views, y'all. Mexico, guys. We're here in Costa Maya. Hey guys, we're coming at you from Costa Maya. So we're waiting in line for our zone and our tickets to see the Mayan ruins. I'm so excited. So we're waiting for the tour to start. Hey everyone, so this is Editing Joanna here. We went to the Mayan ruins in Costa Maya, and the Mexican government does not allow video cameras there. You can take pictures but not videos unless you pay a fee. And when we were actually at the little village outside the ruins, he told us where to go, but we had to go to the bathroom and I got lost, and by that time we had left, and it wasn't clear where you go to pay the fee to the Mexican government so that you can film footage. So I just was only allowed to take pictures here. I didn't want to do anything illegal, obviously, so I'm going to voice over the pictures and go over our trip to the Mayan ruins. I hope you guys enjoy this video, basically. So obviously I took a lot of selfies as we were kind of walking around, and we were walking in a path directly in an actual jungle in Mexico, so it was really cool. It was something that I never thought I would experience. Obviously I took a lot of pictures of the jungle trees because, again, it was not something I ever thought I would experience, and my writer's brain was just so inspired and everything. Some of the pictures came out blurry, as you can see there, but it was just so much fun to actually walk in the jungle and everything. So if you look here, when I take a picture of the trees, you can see workers. I'm going to pause it here, so let this video go on, this picture go on here. If you see, you can see workers in the distance there. Later on in the tour, our guide Daniel Jr. explained that they're actually carving out new paths and continuing to work here and excavate things. So I thought that was pretty cool that there are workers actually on site. Let's resume. So we first get there, that was our view. As soon as we turned, it was in a clearing. It was the ruin itself, the temple. It was so cool. He stood there and gave us, pause there with me and Michael. He gave us about 10 minutes to walk around the ruins and take pictures. So that's what a lot of these pictures were. And he had this call, pause it there on the ruin, the zoomed in version of the corner, or my selfie, whichever one. So basically he had this, his last name means jaguar in Spanish, so he had this whistle that would call like a jaguar, and when he was ready for us to gather in certain areas where he would just let us roam and explore, he would make that jaguar sound and we would go to it to find him. And I thought that was pretty cool. And he's like, if you hear that and I'm not doing the whistle, run. It was hilarious. He had a lot of funny little things like that he told us. But anyways, he gave us 10 minutes to kind of roam around the grounds and take pictures. So in some of these places, some of the best spots had huge lines, and we only had 10 minutes, which meant that we couldn't wait in line because we didn't want to waste time and not get to take pictures of anything else. So some of the areas we avoided and only went to the most isolated areas where we could still get good pictures. Resume the video, by the way. So that's my sister in front of the wall and me in front of the wall in the same spot. And it was just, we were walking around all the sides. That's me and my husband on one side near the stairway. We were not allowed to climb on the stairs. up to a certain point. As you can see, me and my sister there went up as high as we could. The steps were really big, so short girls, it was hard to climb. We also got a picture, that's my sister near one of the jungle trees, and me, we got a picture in certain spots that we thought were really cool because, again, we'd never been in a jungle before, and yes, it was very hot and it was very humid. The air there felt a lot different than back home. Where I live in Missouri, it gets hot and humid, but here it was like hot and humid in a wet kind of way, but it was a hot wet. So like you were immediately damp and everything. Here, pause it with Daniel in front of the tree. So here, Daniel Jr., our guide, you can see there right in front of the picture, he stood in front of a tree and he was talking about how this was a sacred tree, and this was not really sacred, but it was actually only planted a few years ago. I don't remember, it was like 10 years ago. It was like a shockingly recent tree, but it was so big and cool that I wanted to get a picture of it as he stood here talking. Resume the video. That's how big the side of it was, and I also took a picture of the roots. That's a picture of the roots and how long the roots went. Which was just crazy. So again, we kept taking pictures of trees as we walked. I did because it was just such a cool experience. I'm not exactly sure why there's a bunch of green stuff. So this one, positive Daniel in front of the tree. So this was one of the coolest trees I've ever seen in my life, and my writer's brain went crazy. So Daniel explained to us this tree here. As you can see, it looks like it's got something wrapped around it. That's because the tree and the bark looking thing wrapped around it are two different things. The bark wrapped around it, I forget the name, but it actually is a parasite entity that does wrap around the tree and slowly suck the tree's life away. So we actually found one later on in the trail that the tree was actually mostly decayed and half gone because the parasite had sucked its life away. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is a cool but creepy idea for a type of creature in a book, and my writer's brain went nuts, but it's really cool. So as you can see there, it's just recently started. It hasn't been recent, but he actually showed, if you can see there, I don't know if you can see it, but there are really tiny little strands that are like no thinner than a piece of yarn, and that is how thin those branches start on the parasitic one, and that is how thick it gets when it starts sucking from the tree. So that was also cool. Play the video. So he stood there and told us and explained that for a while. I got a close-up of it because it's just such a weird thing to see. And we kept walking through the jungle. Another thing we had to keep an eye out for was the red fire ants, and so we had to be careful where we stepped, so that was kind of freaky because we don't have anything that dangerous. Just walking out in the woods casually like you worry here about like spider, snakes, and poison ivy, but that was not the case here. Alright, we got the stairs, so pause it. Okay, so this was another staircase. It doesn't look very big from where I took the picture, but it was actually a very large staircase with very thick stairs, and he explained to us that there was two ways you can go, the dumb way or the smart way. This was the smart way. The dumb way was the more difficult one off to the right, which I don't think I got a good picture of, but we actually did climb up the top of this, and it ends up with a flat plateau where there was two different temples, which you'll see in just a minute. Again, it does not look very big, but it was a very large staircase. Resume the video. It was a very large staircase, so I got pictures in and around it. Trying to avoid taking pictures of people, but it's inevitable. And again, this is where I would have vlogged as I walked. So I just got a couple selfies, and as we were walking up the staircase, and again, it was very huge, and the steps were very thick, so it was hard for my short legs to get up and around it. So as you came to the top here, you ended up in this little valley with stones on either side of you, so I took a picture of my sister there, and you walked through, and on the other side was a flat plateau where you see Temple 1, which was the older one, and then I took a picture of the staircase behind us, so that's what it looked like. And then again, that was the first temple, that was the older one, and then the larger one obviously in the middle. Pause it here. So behind the staircase through the trail in the jungle where we walked, he explained that that would have been the main square. So the main square would have overlooked the first ruins that we talked about, which would have been on one side of it, and then this ruins would have been overlooking the entire square, along with the temple on the left, which was the older one, the first one that I pointed out. So this one was the bigger one, the main kind of temple area, in this main complex area, which would have been a center hub for the city that once existed here. So he gave us some more minutes to walk around, I think he gave us 15 up here because you had to hike and everything. So we got lots of pictures as we roamed around, and it was super fun and just a really neat experience to be walking among these ruins that they built themselves by hand many, many years ago. And of course, I got selfies as I walked because I would have loved to have vlogged, but I didn't want to get in trouble. So I just kept taking pictures. It's a very large structure. You can see the workers there working to preserve it and everything. And we just walked around and got pictures of me and my sister and my husband. My husband is 6 foot, so that gives you a height kind of comparison on some of the pictures there. I hope you enjoy as we walked around, of course, I saw some really cool looking trees. My writer's brain. I like taking pictures to get inspiration for different scene ideas. I thought the rocks and the path were cool. It was a very difficult path to walk. So we're coming up on the first temple, which was the smaller one. Pause it here. And this one is much, much older and stuff, but it actually still has some paint preserved on it, which is fading to black. I'll show you that picture in just a moment. But he said it's the only one that you can actually still faintly see traces of paint on there, because at one time these stones would have been smooth. They would have been painted bright colors and everything. It's just they're gray stones now because of time, withering it away and stuff. So he also explained earlier that some of the ruins, these were once completely overwhelmed by the jungle. If I can find the picture, I will post it here for you guys to see of what one looks like, completely overwhelmed by the jungle. And so they have to clear all of that away, dig the dirt out. And a lot of times when you do that, what happens is the structure itself collapses. So there was one ruin that he showed us that they will not be digging out because it will collapse when they try that, and they want to preserve it. So I'll put that picture here if I have it. So these ruins are ones that they've already dug away safely and did not collapse. But let's resume the video and stuff. So this also, don't resume the video. This particular small one, you go around the side of it and it's on the edge of a very high kind of cliff thing. So as I was taking pictures, my sister was like freaking out, worrying, like, don't fall, just be careful, don't fall. So she was very worried about me falling down. So let's resume the video now. I just loved getting pictures of the stones as we walked and everything. It was such a neat sight to see. So it had that little roof beside it. I don't remember the purpose of this one. But again, if you look in the top corner there, the gray and black parts are the ones that were where the paint still is. The paint has now faded to be gray and black, but that is the paint on the side of it. That's moss, obviously, but right there in this picture you can see the black. The black is where the paint used to be. It's just become black after so much time has passed. And so we kept walking. We walked around the whole back of this one, which again was resting up against a cliff. I wish I'd gotten a picture of the cliff, but my sister was really worried about me falling down. But it was definitely like a one time, like I had to get pictures while we were there, because it was like it was like a unique experience. So I just had to get pictures there. And I wear pictures of getting my husband to take pictures. So we got a picture by these really cool looking trees, and it's a neat thing to see. Which again, it would have been cleared back in the day, so the trees would not have existed. So we climbed back down the staircase, which was a little easier but more nerve-wracking. We walked back through the little valley there that had both of the walls on the side, and we took a picture on the staircase. And near the wall of the stairs, I was not comfortable walking in the middle, so we walked near the edge, and before we got all the way down, I took a picture of my husband where he was, to show how high up we were standing. There's this pretty group of flowers, so we decided to get pictures there, but we were also really scared about fire ant nests, so we got there, took the picture, and ran away real quick because we didn't want to end up in the fire ant nests. And we kept walking in the jungle, and when we were here, we saw monkeys high up in the trees, so I tried to get pictures of the monkeys. That's what all these are, but they were just so high up, it hurt me to look upward. I actually think, pause it here, I think you can see the monkey here, the little fur. They were moving so fast, they were so high up, it was, the sun was in my eyes, it was hard to see, so I couldn't see the pictures, so I just kept snapping them and hoped that I captured the monkey in one of the pictures, which you can faintly see the monkey there. But it was just really hard to see, but I thought it was really cool. So I actually didn't get to see the monkey with my own eyes. I could see the tree moving where the monkey was jumping, but it did hurt me to look upright because you had to look straight up above you, and they were very high up in the trees. I can't even express how high. Resume the video. So again, I was just really fascinated with the jungle trees because I've seen a lot of like nature documentaries and history documentaries and never imagined I would be hiking in the jungle. This is where he took us off the beaten path and we literally just went into the woods, or the jungle, I should say. So we were just walking in this trail. So it was this really cool area with trees, and I was getting a lot of scene ideas in my head. Sorry, the pictures were, some of them are blurry, but it was just a really neat experience. It was also a little darker here because the trees were so thick they blocked out the shadows. That was another one of the parasite trees that was eating through the bigger one, which I thought was pretty cool. And again, the shadows completely got blocked out here because it was like the trees are thick enough to block out the sun a little bit. So the shade felt really nice because, again, it's very hot. Everybody's damp. Everybody's sweating. And the workers were carving out a new path in and around this area somewhere. And he was telling us about that because it was a new path that they had just put in like the day before we got there. So we were the first tour group that got to walk on that new path. So I thought that was a really cool thing. So here, pause it, at the ruins, the steps and stuff. So we come to this area, and he explains that this was the entryway for a noble house, and the entryway would have overlooked the main square and that whole complex area that we just exited. And so this would have been, you can see the foundation of the house, the staircase, the whole thing would have been a single house for a noble family. And this would have been the courtyard of that house. And so I took a picture and I just let my mind wander and imagine what it would have looked like back in the day. Even through this picture, you can see the trees and the just brush that's kind of overtaken this house where it once would have been. But if you can just close your eyes and imagine what it would have looked like in a moment, it was very cool. We also had an incident here where we were walking. He let us explore a little bit and stuff, and so we were walking, and my sister grabs me and yanks me backward because the group in front of us stepped in a fire ant nest, and I was about to follow in their footsteps and step in it as well. My sister, so we were really relieved about that. Resume the video. So I just walked around getting pictures of the foundation of this noble house and just really fascinated with seeing the idea of, pause it at the ruins, and just fascinated with the idea of the jungle literally still kind of overtaking this and not having the complete house the way it used to be. Resume the video and pause it on the eaten tree. So this is the tree I was talking about where the parasite has completely eaten through the tree and rotted through. You can see it's just completely gone. There's nothing left. All that remains is the parasitic tree and the jungle tree at the top where it's still currently rotting away. Again, the concept of these plants were very, very creepy and scary, but also very cool. For my writer's brain, I really, really wanted to make a creature or plant like it in one of my books. So we continued walking around getting pictures. These are the last minute pictures because from here he told us the direction to go to get back to the entrance and kind of just let us fend for ourselves in terms of getting out of here and following him and getting back to where the village was, which is where we could shop a little bit, and we had like 30 minutes to get back to the bus or something like that, or maybe 40 minutes. So we were a little nervous about getting left behind, but I wanted to get more pictures of this foundation and this noble house. Because again, it was just such a cool sight to see. And we came back around to the starting structure. This was the back of it, I believe, the fourth area. And just getting final pictures before we headed back through the trail, followed everybody else out of here, back to the little village where we were able to get some souvenirs. We got a picture of the Chacobin sign as well. My sister and I both did. And then we went shopping. We only had a certain amount of time, so we did not want to waste any time. I didn't get any more pictures while we were shopping. Pause it on the bus, or on the Chacobin Ruins one. But while we were shopping, this is an interesting cultural experience I had. After I was done buying some of the items that I wanted as souvenirs, I was looking around for a cash register, and I couldn't find one, and it turns out there was people walking around with fanny packs on, and they just had cash, and so you would just show them the items, they would put them in a bag, and you would hand them cash, and they would hand you cash back if there was anything that they needed to repay. And so several times I would pay this one woman and I found something else I wanted, so I would bring it back to her, and I did that about 4 different times, and it was really interesting because it was a different cultural experience than what you see over here, where it's just like a cash register and a very, very different way of checking out. So anyways, we resumed the video. We hopped on the bus, got a picture. I showed the bag where my goodies were in there. I was very excited to have some souvenirs here because we thought it was just going to be in the middle of the jungle with nothing. We weren't expecting a village with areas to buy. So then we arrived back on port. Pause it here. And this was a very stressful situation. So we were in the meeting before the Chacobin ruins. We met in the ice rink, and we had a crew member tell us, when you get done with your tour, it'll be 6:30. We're supposed to be leaving at 6, so you need to get straight through the port, get back to the boat. You don't want to be left behind. Do not stop to do anything. Get straight back to the boat. Well, we also had an situation where the boat time is actually different than the time in port. So you had to pay attention to your app because your phone, when it reconnected to the Wi-Fi at the port, there was a concern that it would change the hour and the time. We were told by the tour guide people that it was a certain time, and the boat time did match that time, so I don't know if they were going by boat time instead of local time. So when we got back to the port, we still had an extra hour that we should not have had because we were told to come straight back to the boat, that we would arrive at 6:30. But it was 5 or 4. I can't remember now, but so it was a scary experience because I kept insisting that we go straight back to the boat. My husband and sister did not agree with that, and so they wanted to look around, but I did push us to get back to the boat. And then it wasn't a straight line back to the boat. When you get to the port, it is weaving around all these different shops, and we had trouble finding the boat. Even though in some of these pictures you can see it clearly, it's just a little bit difficult to get there. So resume the video. So basically I just got a bunch of pictures as I could. That was a cool vine decorative area my sister and I got a picture in front of. But we didn't have time to look around at the port, basically, so we just got as many pictures as we could. And another, pause it at the boat one. Fun fact about Costa Maya that our tour guide told us is they are one of the most popular tourist destination and ports in this area. But they only have one port, one dock, but their dock can actually dock up to 4 different cruise ships at one time, which I thought was cool. So by the time we got back, there were more cruise ships than when we arrived, which was just us at the time. It was just our ship, so I thought that was cool. And then the second port stop that we went to had 4 different ports as opposed to just one here. So it was a lot smaller, but it was still able to dock 4 different cruise boats. So anyways, we kept taking pictures as we walked through, trying to get back to the boat, able to see it in a distance, but not able to actually get there. We had to keep weaving, and it was a little bit of a chaotic situation, and I was stressed because I did not want to get left behind in Mexico because the boat will leave without you unless you're actually in a tour or doing something. So we were just really nervous about that, but there was a lot of cool sights to see in port. We just wish that we would have had more time to look at it, but our tour of the Chacobin ruins took up the entire day as opposed to doing something else that wouldn't have taken all day, and we would have had more time at port. So it was a really cool experience though, and I'm glad we did the Chacobin ruins, and we finally arrived back at port and we could see the boat. And when we got there in front of the boat, these kind people saw us taking pictures of it and asked to take if they wanted us to get a picture of all 3 of us, so we did. And that gives you the size difference of how big Voyager of the Seas actually is. I got a video of them, so. We're heading back to the ship. Hey, so we're heading back to the ship after a nice day in Port Costa Maya, and we went to the Chacobin ruins. I wasn't allowed to take videos there, but I got a lot of pictures, so I'll tell you guys all about it later. But I'm very excited. I mean, look at this view. The weather's really nice. We went on a hike through the jungle, like an actual jungle in Mexico. I can't believe it. It's so fascinating. We've had a lot of fun. And that one actually came into port after we did, so that's kind of a nice little view. And here's a view of the ocean, the sun, Costa Maya, and this little fun port is the only port they have here, even though they have a lot of tourists coming through. But they can dock like cool. Our guide was Daniel Jr. He's so great. We had a driver, I think his name was Jose, so they were wonderful people on the tour. And I've got goodies, so I'll tell you guys about that later. But we're all hot, tired, and ready for dinner. Day 3, this is the appetizer. I actually got a Caesar salad, so we're gonna try that. I also want to point out her taco because it looks good, but I know that's gonna be spicy. Day 3, the main course, pork chop, baked potato, and vegetables. Day 3. This is my dessert for day 3, brownie and ice cream. We just had dinner. It was fantastic. I'll insert the clips in my review of the food here. But we're at the Royal Theater getting ready for a comedy show and hopefully the Ice Odyssey show afterwards, which is in the ice rink. So sitting on this side because we were over there but that pole was in my way, so we moved and now we're here so we get to experience this side since we were like over there the last couple nights. So I'm pretty excited and I love this place and the service are fantastic. Today was amazing. The Mayan ruins was so amazing. Like we were hiking in the jungle and it was like my writer's brain was going crazy. My history buff was going crazy because there's so much history. There's so much like stuff in the jungle and like I was actually hiking in it and like I'm exhausted. We climbed the steps of one of the platforms and stuff. It was such a surreal experience. So I'll tell you guys all about it later, but yeah. I forgot I could do that here.
Otra vez. That's Spanish for again. See how lengthy we are? When you say again in America, we say otra vez. Those two words. We are difficult people. And the name, especially for everybody. ¿Otra vez?
Otra vez.
That was a chance I took. And this one, that's much more difficult. And this one here is nearly impossible. That's it, now you can do it! Honeymooners, you better go to the cabin. You don't need to stay here. You can go, man. We know what you came here to do mainly on this boat. Go, enjoy it. Because it will change. Right now, you think you got this going. But it will become.
Woo!
And one day, take a good look. This is your future. Let's see how fast I can really swing this baby. This swing I'm about to do right now is a direct imitation of the gallop of the horse in the Pampas of New Jersey. Pampas of Argentina. I apologize, New Jersey. Here we go, the horse. The horse. Must be a French horse. That was something else. You hear the horse?
Yes.
It's a three-legged horse. That's all I could afford. Oh, here comes the horse. A green one. Faster! I want to ask you if you want it faster.
Yeah!
Already then. That's it, now you can do it! Go for it. I thought you were a nice guy, but you're not. Did you see how violently he attacked my dad? Go for it. No, I'm afraid of you. You're amazing. He's also very, very musical. You know, he does. You're amazing. You're very, very intuitive. Last time the same. And now this one is the virile one, long, strong, and you keep it there until I tell you to stop. But please don't destroy my guitar.